because then Amazon will take away the quote unquote buy box. So
Oh, really? I didn't know
you
that.
won't have your like add to cart visible. It's like an extra step. So because they
No,
want
and
price
that's
parity,
just if the price is cheaper on your website to
not only on
directly
your
from Amazon.
website.
Hello, welcome back to the D2C Deep Dive. My name is Fraser, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be speaking to Mordechai from Red Moose. They are a shoe care brand that sell primarily on Amazon, and they're now starting to dip their toes into the D2C world. This is such an interesting episode because if you're like me and have no idea about Amazon and how you sell your product on Amazon and how to get those clicks on Amazon and why maybe you should do D2C and Amazon, then you should listen to this episode because it's super interesting. So strap in, it's a good one. Mordechai, welcome to the D2C Deep Dive. I'm so excited to have you on today, mainly because we're going to be talking about something which we haven't really covered much on the podcast so far, which is Amazon. I'd consider you a bit of an Amazon expert. Is that right?
If that's what people call me, I'll just take it for face value. It's
Brilliant.
knowledge. That's really what it is. I've been doing Amazon
Yeah.
for over 10 years, so I have that knowledge in my back pocket.
Amazing. And most importantly, we're going to be talking about Red Moose, which is, would you consider yourself a D2C brand, even though you still sell on Amazon, or?
Yeah, we're really focused on D2C long term. Like we're going
Okay.
to continue selling on Amazon because that's our bread and butter, and like we have a great brand awareness there. Sales are coming in, so no reason to stop there. But our main spin-off and goal is going to be D2C long term.
Amazing. So Red Moose is, in fact, you know what? Instead of me butchering the explanation of what Red Moose is, why don't you go for it? Introduce yourself and Red Moose, what it is, what you stand for, and why your product is so great.
Sure. So I've been in D2C space about 10 years, primarily starting out on Amazon. For the first 6 years of my career was only focused on Amazon. And then over the past couple of years, really digging deep into what D2C is about and trying to emulate what other brands have done and build out a proper D2C brand. So with that being said, like I fell into this partnership of Red Moose. They were a small mom and pop shop, started out as Ortho Step like about 8 to 10 years ago. It's a store here in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and they sell comfort shoes. So they figured, hey, let's sell shoe care at the same time.
Yeah.
So they started a line of shoe polish, shoe horns, and shoelaces. That was it. That was a catalog, 3 products. And they were selling on Amazon. They were doing all right for a few years. And I was brought in about 2.5, 3 years ago to rebrand and expand the brand and become this D2C player in the space because there aren't any D2C
Mm-hmm.
brands focusing on what we're focusing on. So you have a couple of brands that are really focused on sneakers or shoe care. One of them is Kiwi, which has been around for a really long time, but they're not a D2C company. They're just this, typical shoe polish company being sold in every
Yeah.
shelf, every supermarket, retailer, you name it. But there's no real customer connection or, you know, focus on creating a product for the customer. That's what they're doing. There's some other brands which are focused on just sneakers, but there's no company or brand that is focused on overall footwear and leatherwear category, and that's where we come into play. We're selling both sides of the coin. We're selling shoe polish, which is a bit more of old school or a bit more of a niche product. You're familiar with it, you know how to use it, you'll buy shoe
Mm-hmm.
polish. And then we're doing the sneaker suede side of stuff, which is a bit more lifestyle, younger demo. So we're trying to create this modern customer focused brand. And I think that the long term for us is going to be the focus on education, really explaining to you why you should be using our products and which products you should be using for whatever kind of footwear you're using.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to hate me because there's a lot of sneakerheads that listen to this, I'm sure. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people. I'd say I'd probably spend a fair whack on a pair of trainers or a pair of shoes. I'm one of those people though that will literally wear them until they are falling apart. I never take care of them. I just put them on and just hope that the manufacturer's done a good job of, making them well enough that, they're not going to get scuffed up straight away. So I think I might have used some suede spray at some point to
Right.
like waterproof them, but I've never used anything to the extent that you guys offer. What was it like coming into an existing business like that, which, were I imagine probably fairly set in their ways, but already was selling on Amazon. What was it like coming in and rebranding it and kind of modernizing the whole thing?
Sure, they were very open-minded to it because they realized that they were in kind of an older niche. It's shoe
Mm,
polish. How many people are still polishing their shoes? Either you grew up doing it, you're a military man, or you're a professional where it requires for you to wear dress shoes and you want to look your best. So,
yeah.
take a lawyer or a doctor, for example. There's not many people really polishing their shoes on a daily basis. So in order to like grow the brand and really become more of a global concept, we had to expand the catalog and bring in products which relate to more people. Hence, a sneaker whitener. How many people are wearing white sneakers?
Mm,
I would bet 90% of the population has a pair of white sneakers in their closet. And
yeah.
what's the first thing that happens to a pair of white sneakers when you wear them? You get that ugly
Yeah.
black scuff right on the bottom. It can be anywhere. You got kids, your sneakers are kind of killed day one. So we're really focused on bringing products that solve problems that are pretty common. That's what we're focused on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And one of the ways you're solving that is by selling on Amazon. I think Amazon personally is incredible. I buy pretty much everything on Amazon, but I think it's incredible from a brand perspective because it allows you to take advantage of all the things that come with Amazon and really expand the reach and the brand awareness of your product. So I know that Red Moose were already on Amazon when you came in. What kind of changes were you making when you came into to bring in some of your expertise and really make sure that they were taking advantage of Amazon as much as they possibly could?
Yeah. So the first focus is creating that brand awareness and creating really a strong brand image. So when
Mm,
you're selling on Amazon, you can obviously just list your product and hope it sells. But then there's something deeper to it. You want to have those upsells in place. So if you're a brand and you have a variety of products in your catalog, you want to make sure that the customer ends up buying some of your other products as well. And there are ways to take advantage of that when you're selling on Amazon. You want your product images to really convey what your product does in a nutshell, because let's be honest, most people don't read what your product does. They,
mm,
they see the image, they see the effect it has, and they kind of make their decision based on those images. They need a bit more detail. They'll scroll down and read some,
yeah.
bullet points and descriptions. So when you're a brand, you want to make sure that you've got your product page optimized to take advantage of whatever tools Amazon is giving you to really nail home the value proposition of your product. But at
Mm,
the end of the day, we know Amazon, when a customer comes to Amazon, they're looking to purchase a product. They're ready to make that purchase. They're ready to add to cart whatever product solves their problem. So the biggest issue with D2C is taken away when you're selling on Amazon. That's what we're learning now. Amazon and
yeah.
D2C are two completely different ball games. And
Hmm.
what I know on Amazon is not going to work when I'm trying to apply it to D2C. And I'm learning the
Hmm.
hard way, but that's part of being a founder.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. I think, yeah, with D2C, people do tend to scroll a little more and they take a few more hits in order to make that sale. But like you mentioned, Amazon is, it's intent buying, isn't it? Right away. If you're looking for a phone case, for
Yeah,
example, you're going to go on Amazon and you're probably going to find one which, fits your needs and you're going to purchase that straight away. But I think that's where D2C brands can take advantage of Amazon and and they can get that first purchase from Amazon and then make further purchases through D2C. Is that something which you found that people are discovering you through Amazon and then they're like, oh, Red Moose, I might check them out, and then they go to your website and they find further offers that will make them come directly to you.
correct. So it's funny to see how many brands are anti-Amazon and their competition is dominating their brand name on the Amazon
Hmm.
platform.
Yeah.
So if someone's searching for that company and they don't see them show up, but they need a product, they'll take the next one that's over there that is pretty similar to what they were looking for.
Hmm.
So you're just really leaving money on the table and you're throwing away your brand equity. You just gave away a customer to your competition. So like I hear brands, I've spoken to so many companies, they're like, we don't want to go on Amazon. I'm just like, you're really killing your own brand image. But for
Yeah.
us, yeah, that was the thought process, and that's what's working for us. We have
Hmm.
a post purchase survey set up on our website, And I would say 90% of the customers right now that are coming to us and fill out the survey say they found us in Amazon and they're coming to find other products and explore the rest of the catalog and really like experience the brand the right way. So
Yeah.
it's proof of concept. Like we see that it's working. So
Yeah.
that's definitely the thought process.
100%, yeah. And I think that you have a real benefit when you are a D2C brand and you're on Amazon, that, because let's be honest, a lot of the time when you're buying from Amazon, a lot of the people you're buying off, a lot of the products you're buying off, they're just nameless, and they're literally just people which are, just selling something on Amazon. There's no real brand there. So when people buy from a brand like yourself, which are on Amazon, it's a nice surprise that they can head over to your website and you have way more products there. They can find out more about you, and normally they can get better deals as well because Amazon aren't taking their cut as well. And I think you're right. So many D2C brands they're just plainly leaving money on the table, where it doesn't take that much effort to set up Amazon, get some stock to them, and to start selling on there, right? Do you think it's essential that people use Amazon Prime? Do you think that's essential that your products are available for Amazon Prime?
Absolutely. Your sales will drop by 75 to 95% if you don't have fulfilled by Amazon on any of your listings.
Wow. That's an insane number. I didn't realize it was that high. I knew it was going to be like over 50, but
it's a massive, massive difference. And like the number one thing I would recommend to any brand when they start on an Amazon is make sure you use FBA, because that will give your sales a boost right immediately.
Yeah. Do you think, would you choose, here's an interesting question, would you choose Amazon over D2C or D2C over Amazon if you had to pick one?
It's a very tough question. So like someone actually asked on Twitter yesterday, like which brands have built profit first? Like, and for us, that's been us, because we started on Amazon and we're profitable already. So we're really using our profits to build out into D2C. We have that buffer. But if you start out in D2C, you have to have enough cash to give yourself that runway to really slowly build up your brand, unless you have an investor behind you or whatever it is. We're completely bootstrapped. So for us, Amazon is that platform. Would I would stick with them long term? Very, very tough to answer. I would have to really dig deep and see what makes the most sense for the brand long term.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, isn't it, that everyone speaks about, where it's essentially rented space you're on, really. You're relying on somebody else's platform, someone else's app, and someone else's data in order to make those sales on Amazon, whereas that's one of the main benefits of D2C, is that you pretty much own all the data that comes to your store. Do you think there's a future where pretty much every single D2C brand is on Amazon as well as their D2C direct website?
I think a lot of brands are starting to realize that they have to be on Amazon to make a play. And it's funny, right now, Walmart is also really pushing to compete with Amazon. They've been trying for a while, but they just open the floodgates to every brand right now, and they're onboarding as many as they can. So it'll be interesting to see which brands even embrace Walmart in addition to Amazon. But I'm starting to see more and more brands realizing what they're leaving on the table by not being on Amazon, and they're operating simultaneously on their D2C site and Amazon. But for us, our differentiator is that, so when it comes to pricing, you can't be priced cheaper on your website than on Amazon, because then Amazon will take away the quote unquote buy box. So
oh, really? I didn't know that.
You won't have your add to cart visible. It's like an extra step to check out. It'll say sold by. You have to click into it and then add to cart. So because
that's just if the price is cheaper on your website,
not
to
only
directly
on your
from
website.
Amazon.
Target, Walmart, Best Buy, any of big box retailers, they constantly crawl other websites to make sure that prices are level. Because if you're going to be cheaper on another website, they're going to take away that buy box. So so for us, we're priced the same, obviously. But the value of coming to our website is, step one is education. We're just telling you how to use the product, and we'll guide you which products you need for your current footwear that you're shopping for. The other thing is that we're creating limited kits and certain products that are available only on our website. We have a bundle builder on our website where you can pick and choose what products you want in your kit. You can't do that on Amazon. So there's a lot of pros to having your own website and getting customers to shop from your website.
Wow, I had no idea about that. You've absolutely blown my mind. I always wondered why and how they managed to, to basically have the best price of everything everywhere, and that's why. No way. That is
sometimes that's part of the game, right?
Yeah, that is insane. This week's edition of the D2C Deep Dive is brought to you by Motion. Are you still using spreadsheets to track your creative ad reporting? Well, if you are, you should try Motion instead. Motion bridges the gap with your creative team through visual and digestive reports so that they can make engaging content that actually converts. With one click, you can share insights with your team and add members to your workspace so they can easily deep dive into reports on their own. Motion makes it super easy to identify key drivers for performance and helps eliminate the guesswork in the creative production process. Join the 500 plus teams like Huel, The Ridge, and Foxwell Digital in using Motion to improve their ad results. Say goodbye to creative fatigue and try Motion for yourself with a 14-day free trial at motionapp.com. Talk to me a bit about the process of kind of selling on Amazon and getting sales on Amazon. Like if you're in a really competitive niche, like I'm sure everyone is familiar with the scenario that you maybe search something, again, let's use phone cases as an example. You search that and then the product you buy, the title is ultra shockproof, phone case clear with iPhone 12, 8, 9. They're just SEO cramming. Like there is no other way to say it. But then how do you make sure that you're coming up at the top and that people are actually buying your product and not going to one of the many other people? Because unlike D2C, you're listed with all your competitors and you want to make sure that people aren't just picking the cheapest one, which a lot of people do, because price is important. So how do you get around that? How do you make sure that you're at the top of the search? And if you aren't at the top of the search, how do you make sure that people aren't just picking the cheapest one?
Yeah, so it's a twofold process when it comes to Amazon, and there's really two business models when it comes to the platform. I would say a lot of brands choose the way of being cheaper and moving volume. And then there are some other brands which are just focused on quality products and charging a premium for that because they have a better product. And that's what we're focused on. We're not really focused on the numbers game. First of all, because you have to deal with a lot of returns and customer service issues. But secondly, it's going to be a race to the bottom. You're selling that phone case. What kind of profit margins are you talking about? You got to churn so many of those phone cases in order to start really turning a profit. Because after Amazon fees and FBA fees, what are you left with? So
yeah,
I would tell most businesses like that are getting onto the platform, don't race to the bottom. You have a good product. Make sure you charge the right amount of money for it. Make sure you're being profitable on the platform, and then making sure that your listing really sells the product the right way. Obviously, you have to have keywords. You mentioned earlier the title is just like a mishmash of SEO words.
Yeah.
So for us, yeah, we want to get the right keywords in there, but we're a brand already. People know what we sell. So we're going to put certain keywords that are important that we want to come up for when people search, for example, shoe polish or shoe polish kit. But we're not just going to cram in black, brown, green, just throwing random words that work for SEO purposes. We want it to be cohesive and sell the product. But with that being said, yes, keywords are very very, very important. Being in the title, that's the number one placement. The next one is going to be in the bullet points and then in the product description and then in the back end keyword space that they give you. Most important thing is your main image. You want it to really pop and get the customer's attention because they're scrolling through a page of 50 reviews, 50 products. And, your first image has to really catch their attention for them to click through and see the rest of your product page. Another thing, make sure you're on page one because there's this famous saying, the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of Amazon because no one ever goes to page 2. Let's be honest.
It's true. Yeah. It's very true.
How many times have you clicked through on page 2 of Google? It's the same thing, right? You want to be on page 1. You want to come up as high as possible. So it's really a combination of an optimized listing and then good PPC on Amazon to really give yourself that boost and make sure you come visible as much as possible.
Yeah, and actually going back to the images, obviously, we do creative at Fraggle, and so what's the best first image to use? Like, is it, because I'm sure everyone sees this all the time, you just see white background images all the time and they're pretty boring. Like, from your experience and what Amazon allow, what's the optimal style of image to have as your first headline image on Amazon?
So Amazon only allows white background images, and that's why you see them all
Oh,
over.
that'll be
Now,
why. You
now
can
you
see
know.
how little
Exactly.
I know about Amazon. Yeah.
This is a crash course for you, Amazon 101. So
Yeah.
that's their rules and regulations. TOS is that you have to have that white background image, and there's they don't allow a watermark on there. Some of the bigger brands they turn a blind eye and they let them put like a
Mm.
6-pack or do a little call out of a watermark. But most brands they will block your listing. They'll suppress it and they won't show it in search if you go
Wow.
against TOS. So there are little tips and tricks to how to get your main image to pop. You're not supposed to show, you're supposed to really show just the product, not the packaging. But if you
Mm.
show a combination of the product with the packaging, they'll allow it. So you want to be creative with your packaging. You want your packaging to
Ah.
speak and really have that pop. Look at a Red Moose listing and look at our competition's listing. You're going to see there's some subtle differences and it'll catch your attention and it'll earn us that click through when they're scrolling.
So if you have very colourful packaging, it's happy days because it's going to
Exactly.
grab people much
Yep.
more, because there isn't really much you can do with a white background image, is there? Like,
Correct.
what have you tried and what's failed? That's always an interesting question.
We tested out so many different concepts, and the number one thing is like if you're going to put, so some people try to do fake packaging on Amazon. So for example,
Mm.
their product will come in a bag and they'll show a box with product details on the box, but then you run into the issue with customers complaining that they're not getting the correct packaging. So you
Mm.
don't want to run that risk and get your listing shut down. So you have to really think out of the box and being creative as you can, and like try to use a prop in your main image that will catch the customer's attention, but they won't complain about it when they receive the product. So it's really, as a creative studio, I'm sure you can, relate to that and really try to think out of the box and come up with a concept that works as a main image and really catches the customer's attention. But there are some brands that do Amazon specific packaging. They create a line of packaging just for Amazon, and they use that in their
Wow.
images.
That's incredible. Amazing. And well, let's head back to D2C now, because
Yeah.
that's interesting, right? And you're new to D2C, relatively new, I'd say.
Yeah.
What have been your biggest learnings so far, having being so experienced in the Amazon space and then jumping over to D2C?
So for us, the learning curve was the biggest challenge, like realizing that customers are not looking for your brand. Like, hey, we built a
Mm.
gorgeous brand, and like people are just going to come and buy it, and then we're like, open the website, and then no one shows up. That's the biggest
Mm.
challenge because there's no brand awareness for us. So for us, the real struggle has been building up that brand awareness. And like, where do you turn first? Is it Facebook? Is it Google? Is it TikTok?
Mm.
Snapchat? Who knows? So it's been really like a lot of testing going on over the past 6 months, really trying to figure out where our ideal customer lives and speak to them in the right language. Originally when we started running ads, we were using images of perfectly polished shoes, and a lot of people weren't clicking through them. Like, what's going on here? And then we realized that that doesn't speak to the consumer because they thought that we were probably selling a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
So we started testing out before and afters, and that worked really well. You see a pair of
Mm.
clean white shoes, and then a pair of dirty shoes, really scuffed up trainers, something that you would be wearing, and then show them a gorgeous pair of white sneakers, and they're like, hey,
Yeah.
that is something I want. That's something I aspire to,
Mm.
and sell the product that way. So it's been a learning curve. If you look at our website, like there's been iterations of what our website was designed. In the beginning, it was a bit more masculine leaning because our brand was built on shoe polish, and now it's a bit of a balance of both masculine, feminine, a bit more of a lifestyle vibe to it. We're doing before and after images. We're really trying to educate you and give you that feeling of what our product does before you even purchase it.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. And what platform worked in the end? Where have you found your customers are hanging out?
So for us right now, Google is probably one of the strongest performers. Performance Max is really crushing it. We found some interesting products that work well. For example, a shoehorn. Like most people
Mm.
don't even know what a shoehorn is or does, but on Google, there's not many people that are selling shoehorns, so we're crushing it there. And the beauty of it is, once they buy a shoehorn, they're being upsold to a shoe polish kit, sneaker whitener. So they can start with a product that's selling for about $10, and they end up checking out with $100 worth of items in their order. So,
Mm.
that's kind of like that entryway product that really hooks the customer and introduces them to the rest of the product line. With
Yeah.
Facebook, we tested out a couple of different creatives. That wasn't working, so we took a step back, signed up with a creative agency to really create images focused on Facebook, and we're going to start rolling them out over the next couple of weeks. So that's something that we're going to really, hopefully, that's going to ramp up for us.
Yeah, for sure. And then what about TikTok? Because I'd say there's probably a lot of sneakerheads and people that love shoes on TikTok. What's been your experience there?
So we tried a couple of different videos, didn't get much traction, and I think for us the concept moving forward is going to be more on entertainment and education than
Hmm.
trying to do something which is viral. Like we want people to come to our page because they want to watch our content. That's our main focus. We're not just
Yeah.
going to be pushing our product and saying buy this today. We're just going to really churn out original creative content, and then hopefully we'll stick in your head, and you're gonna look down at your shoes and you'll be like, hey, I need some help with this, and go to Red Moose.
Yeah, brilliant strategy. Yeah, I think making content. I mean, that's why we do this, right? Is to
Yeah.
is to educate people on D2C and why it's so great and content. Like I think that is one of the future marketing trends which people are really going to hammer home. So in terms of your strategy now, like where you are with Amazon and where you are with D2C, like where are you going with each channel? Are you pushing Amazon more because that's where the profit is, or are you pushing D2C more because that's where you want to head?
We're pushing both of them equally. Like we know Amazon, and we're constantly innovating on the Amazon platform. For example, pushing outside traffic to Amazon, because at the end of the day, there's a large demographic that will always purchase on Amazon no matter what.
Hmm.
Like the first place they'll see something, even if it's on TikTok, they're just going to go to Amazon and search for it and purchase it there. So we're testing out a lot of different strategies to drive traffic to Amazon. And then we're doubling down our efforts on D2C, meaning Google, we're going all out with PMax and Facebook, and then eventually TikTok. And then we're going to start testing out even Snapchat, Pinterest, some of these other platforms too, to see if we can find some of those pockets of people that might
Yeah.
relate to our products.
Yeah, actually, talking about pushing outside traffic to Amazon, how does that work? Because I mean, can you put a pixel on an Amazon listing page? Like, how you?
Yeah.
I imagine by directing people to Amazon, you're losing a lot of the benefits that come with social ads, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a catch 22. You want people to purchase your product, right? And if you know that they're going to end up purchasing on Amazon because they're an Amazon shopper, but then they get a good product insert in there and they end up coming to your website, right? Then your cost of
Mm.
acquisition could be relatively less compared to getting someone to go directly to your website, and they didn't buy anything then, and they might click on another ad later on. So it might end up being cheaper for you to convert that Amazon customer than to get them to go directly to your website. Some
Mm.
people don't really think about it that way, and they're like, hey, I'm just giving my profits and my commissions to Amazon, and I'm not really making much. But for us, if that's the play, then and it's working, might as well push it.
Yeah, and what would be your advice for people which are maybe thinking, there's maybe some D2C brands out there which are maybe thinking about dabbling in Amazon, they're not really sure what to do. What would be your main advice and your first step in order to get that ball rolling, to get on Amazon and to start making those sales?
I would say start with a hero product that has a very good profit margin. That way you can absorb some of that original impact, that loss.
Hmm.
I would start lower priced when I launch on Amazon in order to like get the sales volume going, get some reviews coming in, and then slowly increase the price as you go along. So kind of like give yourself that buffer and even break even if you have to in the beginning when you're starting out in order to get that traction. But make sure you have a well optimized listing with the proper keywords in the title that you want to like absolutely nail. Don't try to get too many keywords. Try to get a few core keywords that you want people to buy your product for. So make sure you have great imagery, make sure you have an optimized listing, and make sure you have someone really good managing your Amazon PPC. So those are like top 3 tips.
Yeah, amazing. And if people want to follow yourself and follow the journey of Red Moose and what you're doing and, and also buy some product, that would be great as well. Where can people do that?
I'm on Twitter, Mordechai Hoff. That's my Twitter tag. I've been pretty active on there lately. I used to be on LinkedIn, but fun is all on Twitter these days, so that's where I'm at.
Sure is.
If you want, you can check me out on LinkedIn as well. And then redmooseusa.com, that's our website. You can feel free to ping me, ask me any questions you want about footwear or even Amazon. I'll be more than happy to help. So I'm a man of the people.
Okay, incredible. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure and very eye-opening. Like you said, it's an Amazon 101 for me. So thanks for teaching me some stuff.
I'm happy. Thank you for having me. And it was a pleasure chatting with you today.
And that's it for the D2C deep dive this week. Thanks very much for watching. Be sure to leave a review if you enjoyed this episode, because that really helps us get discovered by new listeners. So if you want to, please do leave a review on your platform of choice. You can follow me on Twitter, it's @SalFraser, or you can follow the D2C deep dive on Twitter as well. Thanks so much for your time, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.